Well, hello, I'm David Freeman with Is That Really in the Bible? About 20 years ago, at least 20 years ago, I would go to a funeral and there was always this conundrum that was presented. It was like a blatant contradiction. And that is, in the church building, the minister would say, this person who is in this casket is not there. They're with the Lord right now. Don't grieve because they're not in that casket. And you're thinking to yourself, maybe my eyes deceived me, but I know I saw somebody laying in that casket. But they're with the Lord right now. And then you would go to the grave side. Everybody would gather and go out to the grave plot, where they lower the casket down into the ground with the body still in it. And the preacher would read from the Bible, maybe for the first time. They would read the resurrection chapter, 1 Corinthians 15, and they would read about, the trump shall sound and the dead in Christ shall rise first. But to me, it seemed like a contradiction because of what I had just heard in the church was that they were immediately with the Lord, and then what I heard by the graveside was that no, they were waiting for the resurrection from the dead, for Christ to return and raise the dead. And it always bothered me because I experienced that contradiction again and again and again and again. But what I've noticed recently with going to funerals is that no longer is the resurrection even preached anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's going on here? It's sad. I think a lot of ministers are standing on thin ice that is getting ready to break through because of this. Because the resurrection is simply not taught anymore. Revelation 22 and verse 18 through 19, it talks about, well, I'll just tell you what it talks about. It talks about, anyone that adds to or takes away from this book, I'm going to take his part out of the book of life. So it's dangerous ground to add to the Bible, but it's also equally dangerous not to mention absolute facts that are in the Bible and just pretend that they're not there anymore, such as the resurrection of the dead, such as, like I said, last funeral I went to, I didn't hear a hint about the resurrection of the dead. Zilch, zero, nothing.
Check us out on the web at isthatreallyinthebible.com.